What is going on, FA Nation? John Impemba here with Henry Wilson. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS Game Day Playbook Live Show. We are looking at 11 games here on the Tuesday main slate. Henry was the man on your playbook for this slate, so a lot of knowledge to be dropped here. How are we feeling about things, man?
Feeling great. Yeah, this is a fun slate. We've got like some of the best top end pitching I've seen on a slate in a while, and Paul Skeens isn't even on it. He's pitching before the slate starts. Right. So yeah, it should be pretty wild.
They gave us a 4-game 640 slate for whatever reason there ahead of time. So we don't have them on the main slate, but we do have plenty of games, 11 games on the main slate. We have some good starting pitching. We also have some weather that we have to kind of pay attention to, which will impact potentially some of those starting pitching matchups here. So we'll be sure to cover all of that for you here over the next 30 to 45 minutes. If you have any questions, you want to get them in chat, feel free to toss those in there. I already see a bunch of you guys in there. Our guy Don's in here, Pod DJ, of course, Grande popping in, saying what's up to everybody there as well. And yeah, toss a like, hit a subscribe, hit a share button over on X, over on YouTube. It's a free way to support the work we do here over on the Fantasy Alarm channels. Henry, like I said, you did the playbook, so let's take a look at today's main slate and see what we can dive into here. Looking at the starting pitching, your top two price starters on the main slate: Chris Sale, Logan Gilbert, up over $10,000. Garrett Crochet checking at 98. Zach Wheeler at 95 and Louis Heel at 9K. There is some rain potential concerns with the Cincinnati-Atlanta game, which would obviously put Chris Sale possibly in jeopardy here. What's your takeaway on these top price starters?
Yeah, like I said, I think this might be the most stacked top five I've seen on a slate this year. All the top five of these guys are just amazing. Strike out a bunch of guys. I could see arguments for all five of them. They are very good. My favorite is Chris Sale if the weather's going to cooperate. Obviously, there is rain. It kind of seems like they're going to be okay. I think there might be a delay, but the rain's happening now, and it looks like it should slow down into the evening. So I think they'll play, and it's not going to be a start-stop issue. So as long as they are going to play, Chris Sale's my guy here. He's just been absurdly good, having his best season probably since that 2018 run with the Red Sox. He's just striking out everybody. Yeah. Obviously, only 4 in that last outing against the Padres, but the Padres are tough to strike out. They're just a rough team, and he's just been so good that even at this price against Cincinnati, I'm paying it.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's a great matchup. Obviously, the Reds do have some guys in their lineup that can hit lefties, but Sale obviously being on a tier of his own. I do like Logan Gilbert. Just also, if you wanted to pivot down or you're worried about the weather, just faced the Angels there. 7 shutout innings, 9 strikeouts. Strikeouts on the rise here of late over the last handful of starts. Obviously, a dominant pitcher at home as well, limiting the runs. We saw Bryce Miller last night, 7 shutout innings for him in his game. So Seattle pitching obviously in a good spot. Where are you with Garrett Crochet? Because he was limited in his last outing heading into the All-Star break. He's obviously been involved in a lot of potential trade rumors. The trade deadline is next Tuesday. Haven't seen much of him potentially being limited today. I don't know if you've seen any news around that. Do you feel confident in pitching Garrett Crochet today?
I'm pretty confident in it, yeah. Obviously, there is concern, what if they do limit him again here? I really think that one against Pittsburgh, where he only went to 2 innings, it was 2 perfect innings and they took him. I think it was a case of it was right before the All-Star break. They knew he was pitching in the All-Star game. Let's just give him a couple innings and go to the All-Star break. This team's not in it. It's okay if they limit him. I think they're going to let him go here. Obviously, there's potential that, we're going to keep limiting him until we trade him type of thing. I don't think that's going to happen. That's your biggest risk here. If he's they're going to let him go 5 or 6 innings, he should be fantastic and shut down this Rangers team and pile up a ton of strikeouts. So obviously some risk. Maybe they'll limit the innings, but I'm going to take the chance. And if they don't, he should be amazing.
Sure. And like you said, pretty much anybody in this group here is pretty solid. Wheeler, Heels, obviously pitching a little bit better of late than he had in the couple of starts prior to that. If we're looking under 9K, do you have a go-to play here?
Yeah, I have one and one only. For how stacked the top 5 is, I hardly like anybody after those top 5. Like I think you can make some arguments for like Barrios and Mac, but I don't love them. My one cheap option I like is Jose Soriano. Obviously, we like attacking the Mariners always because they strike out a ton. One of the highest strikeouts. I mean, not one of the highest, the highest strikeout team in baseball. And Soriano's shown strikeout stuff before. He obviously had a pretty good outing his last one against Seattle. And like you see, he had a season high 4 walks also. So like it's not like he had his best stuff. If he can command a little better, he could pile up even 6 or 7 strikeouts potentially. Sure. Mariners team. So for that price, I think he is easily my top cheaper option here today.
Yeah, I agree with you. And when we did the preview show this morning, we didn't really care for much of the value tier either. There was obviously some dart throws that maybe could be had, but nothing really sticking out. I don't think, given sort of the matchups that are on the board or some of the state in which some of these guys are pitching. Like, I think maybe earlier this year we would have liked Jose Barrios against Tampa Bay, but Tampa Bay's offense is starting to hit a little bit better, and he's been kind of terrible. So it's pretty tough to want to like throw him in there. You've seen good starts out of Jameson Taillon, but Milwaukee, obviously has a tough offense. So I'm kind of riding with you there. I think Soriano is where I would go. Moving on over to catcher, a position where we have generally looked for some value, but we do have Coors Field on this slate. Connor Wong homered last night. You got Ty Black re-entering the starting rotation for Colorado. Where are you looking to go at the catcher position?
Yeah, Connor Wong obviously sticks out here. Obviously there's some cheaper options you can go to too, but if you're willing to pay up a little bit more, Connor Wong against a lefty in Coors just seems like a slam dunk. Dude crushes lefties, hitting the ball well lately in this good matchup. 4,400 seems like a reasonable price for him here in Coors.
Yeah, I agree with you. Again, good matchup for him there. If you wanted to go, Salvi Perez, you have him at $4,700. But we liked Freddie Fermin as the value play hitting 6. Again, Jordan Montgomery coming back off the IL. We know how poorly he had pitched all season long. Fermin hits lefties really well this year. You're looking for value play today. I think Fermin's the spot.
Yeah, I like Fermin as well. I think if you need to go even a little cheaper, I don't hate Alejandro Kirk either, who's been hitting a little better, and will be facing, Tyler Alexander, really. He probably won't face Armstrong at all, and Alexander is bad against right-handed hitters. So I think he has some potential there, and I like the Blue Jays today.
I like it, especially if you're looking to spend up on some of those expensive pitching. You're going to want some value at the catcher spot there. Eddie asking if you've heard any rumors of MLB trades today. I mean, it's trade deadline season, so I've seen numerous accounts kind of float out like what they would see as possible trade proposals, but nothing like concrete. This guy maybe moved today to worry about that. Now, maybe this weekend or Monday, they'll be we'll be wondering a little bit more about that. But until then, for now, I think we're okay on the trade rumors until we get it. And our guy keeps saying he loves the channel. He wants to know where Grande is. Well, Grande was in the chat. Grande will be obviously, back with us here tomorrow. You got myself, you got Henry here today. Well, don't worry, Grande's hanging around. He's there. We like James Grande as well. So, any other catchers for you here, Henry?
No, that's pretty much it for a catcher for me. I'm probably going to one of those 3 guys we talked about.
Sure. Over at the first base position, again, we have the Dodgers on this slate. We have Coors Field to also kind of consider when spending up. So do you find yourself looking at an Ohtani, Harper, Freeman, and spending your $5K and up here? Or what's your thoughts on the first base position?
Yeah, I mean, I could consider it just because those guys are so good, and I like the Phillies and the Dodgers today. So, like, I could see going for Bryce Harper or, like, a Freddie Freeman here in these matchups. But I think there's just other places I probably want to spend my money more. And when I can get, like, a Vladimir Guerrero batting third, again, against Tyler Alexander, who can't get righties out, and he's been hitting the ball really well. Like, if I'm going higher end, I'm probably just going to go to that, like, 4,800 to try to save money a little bit.
Yeah.
Go there.
Yeah, for sure. Again, it's a good spot, obviously, targeting the matchup that you have on the board there. If you're trying to looking at some of these matchup of pitchers that have been struggling, you certainly can go ahead and target the mid-tier there as well. We didn't really find a lot of value that we liked at this position as we worked our way down. I always go to my guy, Lamonte Wade Jr. He's got Landon Knack. I can't go a slate without mentioning him because he's still hitting 300 with an 800 OPS. So I'm going to keep on mentioning Lamonte Wade when I can here at 39. I also like Andrew Vaughn yesterday in that matchup against Lorenzen. He came through with a couple of hits here. John Gray has certainly not been the same guy as he was earlier this year, so wouldn't mind tempting fate and going back in that matchup either.
Yeah, I agree with those picks. I think also Michael Busch, 3,900 is not a bad cheaper option at 2. And I mean, could take a look at JD Davis facing Quintana and batting cleanup for the Yankees. JD Davis has not been hitting the ball great lately, but 3,200 batting cleanup for the Yankees, he could provide some value.
Yeah, for sure. Again, obviously, they had hoped to maybe get a little bit more out of him since acquiring him there. Got a lefty on the mound. Historically, this has been a matchup where Davis has had some success, but we'll see where we go from there. Any other first baseman for you here today?
I mean, obviously, if you want Coors exposure too, like shout out Michael Tolia. He's been hitting the ball well. So obviously, he's a little more expensive, 4,100. But I think that's the only other guy I wouldn't mind.
Would you go Romy Gonzalez, who started yesterday?
I mean, sure. Yeah, 4,000 seems like a lot for Romy Gonzalez, but it's against the lefty. It's in Coors. Why not?
Sure. Moving on over to second base here. Ketel Marte, Jose Altuve, you're up guys up top here. Marte homered yesterday. Neither of these have the lefty matchups that we usually look to target, but obviously Alec Marsh and Vito, not necessarily great starting pitching options here. For me, again, this wasn't a position I targeted spending up at today. How did you feel doing the playbook?
Yeah, I'm kind of in agreement. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with Marte and Altuve, especially like if you are stacking Astros for some reason, I can see going those guys. But I'm with you that I'm more leaning lower, and I'd rather save a little money and even like a Maikel Garcia at 4,400. I know he's only batting 7th. I was hoping he'd be leading off, but still here against Montgomery, I really like the Royals. I think he's a pretty good option.
Yeah, I agree. Going up against that matchup, they're targeting Montgomery. They moved him up and down the lineup a lot this year, so it could make for an interesting spot. Obviously Bobby Witt Jr. was our favorite play of the day this morning. Obviously hard to go away from that when we get the shortstop. So getting some Royals in your lineup, especially some cheap ones, certainly help. Spencer Horwitz is hitting second. I'm fine going there as well. Any other value plays for you at second base?
Yeah, I also would go, Schneider. They're batting 5th too. I think he's a pretty good matchup there. Again, talking those Blue Jays. And the other guy I really like is Gavin Lux, actually. 3,200 going against Jordan Hicks. And
sure,
Lux was back to 0-for-3 yesterday, but before that, he had 2-game stretch where he had 5 hits, 2 doubles, 2 homers. Like, this is a guy I was really big at coming into the year, thinking that he'd be a really solid bat for this Dodgers team. It hasn't really worked out, but maybe this is the sign of him turning things around. I think this is a pretty good matchup. And again, this is a very highly touted prospect coming up. It seemed like his bat for sure would stick. His only problem was the defense. Right. So maybe this is him kind of figuring things out, and I'm willing to take a shot at him for 3,200.
Sure, yeah. Tortured our Red Sox there over the weekend here. Speaking of the Red Sox, their official lineup just came out. We do have Jamie Westbrook hitting 9th. He hit 9th yesterday, and he homered. Yeah. So, anything can happen in Coors Field. Ty Block on the mound. You go back to Westbrook here at 3K.
Oh, yeah. For $3,000, it's Coors. It's in a decent matchup. Coming up a homer, why not?
Right. Agreed. And then the last one I'll just ask you because he's leading off. You have Jahmai Jones here. Any thoughts?
I mean, probably don't expect a lot, but hey, it's 2,600 and again, leading off in front of Judge and Soto. So absolutely it's worth considering, especially on a day where there's some other high-end guys I really like, and especially on the pitching. I'm going to have to find some deals. Why not take a shot on the guy that's leading off in front of the 2 of the best hitters in baseball?
I was going to say, if you're stacking Yankees at all today, you have to get him in the lineup just because of the price tag that he is, and he's going to make it easier to fit in a Judge Soto or even possibly both there. Third base position up at the top, we got Rafi Devers. We have Alec Bohm, Vlad Guerrero with the dual positional eligibility there. If you're looking to spend up today at third, who are some of the targets?
Yeah, obviously. I mean, I already talked about Vlad Guerrero, liking him, but also the very top, both Devers and Bohm. Devers in Colorado. I know he's had a couple rough games, but that doesn't really shy me away a whole lot, especially if you're really fully I want to stack 5 Boston hit bats today.
Yeah.
pay up for Devers then. And I also like the Phillies against Simeon Woods Richardson. So I think those are both pretty good options. But most likely, it's another spot that I'm not paying up for today just because I like paying up in some other places.
What's your go-to third baseman for this slate?
I like Ryan McMahon coming in a little cheaper. Have we have the lineup yet? Is he starting? I know he was day to day yesterday.
Yeah, wasn't in yesterday's starting lineup. We'll see if he's in or out. But obviously, Cooper Criswell has been struggling a little bit lately.
Yeah, exactly. And I just like McMahon. He's been hitting so well. But if not him, I don't mind kind of punting this position a bit and going down to like an Ernie Clement. I keep talking about these Blue Jays guys, but he's one of the cheaper ones, obviously only batting 8th. But again, Tyler Alexander cannot get righties out very well. So I think he is a great value here in this spot.
Grande has been all in on Ernie Clement now for a couple of weeks. I know you've done some shows with him where he's mentioned him. He's been mentioning it to me. Hard to argue coming off the 2 hits there. He had that hot stretch there before the All-Star break. Another position where if you're looking to spend down, you might as well punt some Clement there and take a look at the value that you're getting there. Because we go to shortstop where Bobby Witt Jr. is here. He's $6,400. Trey Turner and Simeon Woods Richardson, $6,200. Those would be the clear 2 top spend ups here. Not going to challenge Ellie versus Sale. Don't really like Lindor as much against a righty and heel. So for me, Witt and Turner are the guys. Gary Malone popping in Rockies lineup. No McMahon for today. So.
In agreement with you here. Like I said, I've been talking about a lot of these positions like, I like some of these guys up top, but I'm probably not paying for them. That's because I'm probably paying for Bobby Witt Jr. This dude's just on another planet right now. He was a single away from the cycle in the 4th inning yesterday, and it's now 4 straight games with 3 hits. It's absurd what he's doing. So, 6,400's a ton, but man, I mean, how do you not try to pay for it with what he's doing right now?
Yeah, for sure. So, again, the guy had a triple-double homer, got hit by a pitch, and then failed to complete the cycle, but 4 straight games with 3 hits. They're seeing over 500 for the month of July, so really difficult not to want to spend up for Bobby Witt. You want to go further down, Ceddanne Rafael is $4,600, certainly willing to spend that in Coors Field, even though they continued to hit him the bottom of the lineup there. Got him hitting 8th. In this one, you have Tovar at $4,400 in the mid-tier. Romy with the dual positional eligibility. Where are you at Volpe here? Hitting 5th today against Quintana.
I like it. He's, been starting to finally hit the ball a little better, so they're moving him back up in the lineup. Obviously not as good as when he was like leading off every day. But batting 5th, he's been hitting the ball well. So at $3,900, you're still getting a discount on him. I don't hate it. Obviously, if you can pay up a little more, I like some of those even mid-tier options better of getting to go to like Tovar or Adames or Rafaela. But you need to go a little cheaper. I think Volpe is an intriguing option here because he's kind of hitting the ball recently. Yeah,
for sure. Where else are you looking at for value today?
After him, there's not a whole lot I love. I think you go to, Max Schumann over in Oakland. If you really need to punt, $2,500 if he's going to be in the lineup here, which I would assume he is. He's been crushing the ball recently.
Another 2 hits last night. So.
Yeah, so for $2,500, you got to save money somewhere. Take a shot on the guy hitting the ball super well.
Agreed. And again, the A's are going to be popular for us, I think, continuing to be popular for us as their offense keeps rolling along. Moving over to the outfield, obviously there's a ton of spend-up options for you. You have Ohtani, as we mentioned, Judge, Soto, Jarren Duran at $6,000 continues to be a monster. Tyler O'Neill in that matchup in Coors Field. How are you prioritizing where to allocate your outfield funds?
Yeah, that's tough because all of these top 10 guys here in the outfield are awesome and in pretty good matchups. So I could see going pretty much anywhere here. Obviously, Yankees are always a good stack. I would really like going to the Boston bats too, obviously in Coors. So going with Tyler O'Neill or Duran, who both been hitting the ball super well. I probably prefer going to them, but man, there's no wrong option here at the top end of outfield.
Yeah, I largely agree with you. Again, you kind of find your stack today, and then you plug in the top outfielders that you kind of fit through there. And we mentioned obviously some of the top guys. I think that also includes basically anybody in the 5K tier: Jordan, Schwarber, Rooker, if you want to go there. Luis Roberts leading off if you want to go against Gray at 5K. Certainly can run that. Brenton Doyle's $4,900.
Amazing.
I mean, he keeps on rolling. He has extremely good splits at home, 345 batting average in Coors Field here. Grande saying that the lineup the Yankees put out, Judge may end up 0 for 0 with 4 walks. So,
yeah, that could happen. That
always the risk. Alec Marsh on the mound. I don't mind throwing some Arizona guys out there either. Corbin Carroll, Jock Peterson. I think if you wanted to go throw some lefties in that lineup against Alec Marsh today, I think you could there. George Springer continues to hit the ball really well, leading off for Toronto now. Yeah. So where are you in the mid 4K range?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, I've been talking a lot of Blue Jays. So if I'm stacking Blue Jays, I probably want the leadoff guy who's crushing it in George Springer too. Because 4,500 is just not that much, and he's been awesome lately. I also think there's some good options here of Ian Happ against Colin Ray, Jared Kelenic batting leadoff against Nick Martinez. I think the Braves are kind of a sneaky stack here today too, because Nick Martinez is not that great as long as the rain doesn't stop that game. And if you're going those Diamondback guys, Lourdes Gurriel down here at 4,200 is also a pretty good option.
Yeah, for sure. Miguel Andujar, another hit, double RBI last night, keeps on hitting in the top of that lineup for Oakland as everybody continues to hit well for them. If you're in on Tampa Bay, because you're not in on Berrios, obviously Arozarena is starting to hit the ball really well. You have Josh Lowe hitting 5th tonight. You can go in that direction in that matchup. Dalton Varsho against Armstrong, a guy we've kind of gone back and forth this season. You liked his spot in that lineup for tonight. So, if you're not in on Armstrong, $3,700. Jake McCarthy, 37. Working our way down to Lawrence Butler. Where is he? Is he
3,700.
3,700. Another 2 hits last night. 459 over the last 10. Core play, I think, tonight for many.
Yeah, obviously he's getting this price jump up to 3,700 from the 2,500 it was before the All-Star break. But I'm not priced out yet. I think we might get there eventually once he starts getting up. If he was up into the 4,000s, I might be considering going somewhere else. But I think this is still cheap enough with how he's hitting the ball. I'm gonna stick with him, especially in this matchup. I think Lawrence Butler we can keep riding him for now.
Agreed. Where else are you looking for value outfielders today?
I also think Tyler Fitzgerald. Is he in the lineup today? That's a good question. Maybe he's not.
Let's see, we got a Giants lineup here. Cubs, Brewers, Rockies, Phillies. It's Fitzgerald in. Do we have a lineup out for them yet?
Well, if he is in the lineup, he is also now at 4 straight games with a homer. So you also get him at 3,700 going against Landon Knack, who has been loving to give up homers so far. So like that spot.
Yeah, that's a good one there. We also have working our way down this list here.
Cave at 3,300. He should be getting the start against Cooper Criswell. Definitely will provide you some Coors power there. Yeah,
I'm looking to see where did they have. We played Robles yesterday. Another 2 hits for him, stolen bases, and with Soriano on the mound being a righty, maybe more opportunities for him to steal. So they got him hitting second again at 2,400. I'd be willing to run that out there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Especially if you're not going Soriano, there's a good chance I'll play him a bit. But even if you are, throw a 1-off Robles.
Garrett Hampson leading off today at $2,700. I know he's been struggling, but obviously a guy that has hit left. So
yeah, Royals are one of my favorite stacks today. So yeah, see if he was not leading off, I probably wouldn't be going there. But especially when I want to play, Bobby Witt Jr., why not take a leadoff guy in front of him for 2,700 there?
Agreed. All right, well, let's get a lineup build then. You said Royals are one of your favorite stacks. I imagine that means we are starting with Bobby Witt here then.
I mean, I'd love to get him in there. I think it's just
let's go Witt, Furman.
Yeah,
there's some value here. Pitching wise, what are we starting things off with?
Well, I want to go Sale, but I don't. If you're worried about the weather, you could convince me to go elsewhere. But I think we got to take, one of Sale, Gilbert, Crochet.
You like Soriano, so let's see if we can do let's say we do Sale, and if the weather or we need salary, we can drop down to Wheeler maybe here.
Yeah.
All right, so we got 3,700, which means we're probably going to need to punt. There's a couple of positions we like punting anyways. So
Yeah,
Hampton, Butler was there. 4K a play now here. So
Ernie Clement at third.
Yeah, Ernie Clement at third was a good one. $2,900. Now we're getting some money. Outfield and first base around 4,400 a play.
I mean, I wouldn't mind. I like both Vlad or Vinny P. Since we got Bobby Witt, we could go the 1, 2, 3 or. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, do you mind the lefty-lefty matchup here for Pasquantino, or would you rather Guerrero at 48?
I think I prefer Guerrero. I don't hate the lefty-lefty matchup just because I'm worried that Jordan Montgomery is going to be bad.
Sure. we'll ride the home run streak with Fitzgerald, and that'll give us a $4,600 outfield to finish the lineup, which we can just do Sedan here, or no, let's get out. We'll get more Blue Jays in there.
Yeah,
or Springer. There we go. Keeping Chris Sale in the lineup, we got Soriano, Sale, Furman, Guerrero, Hampson, Clement, Witt, Butler, Fitzgerald, and Springer. That gives us a little Blue Jays Royals stack. A couple of one-off plays there for some guys on hot streaks in Butler and Fitzgerald. And we got to spend up pitcher on the board. Henry, any final thoughts here on today's slate?
No, it looks great. Yeah, a lot of different ways you can go. Obviously, keep an eye on that Braves weather and make sure you pivot from Sale if you are doing that. But hopefully, it'll be fine. And
Grande saying to use Renfroe to complete the Royals stack.
Oh, I don't hate that either.
Renfroe is 35, so we'd go down from Fitzgerald to Renfroe. Then
I'm okay going Renfroe over Fitzgerald. Yeah,
there you go. $300 left over if you want to play that game there as well. Go check out Henry's Playbook if you're not yet a member of the Fantasy Alarm family. Of course, right now is the time to sign up. We got our All-Pro special still going on. Promo code Let's Go gives you your first month for less than $20. And that means that your fantasy football draft guide and cheat sheet included in your All-Pro subscription. That will pretty much take you to the start of the NFL season. So all your fantasy football draft needs will be met simply by signing up. FantasyAlarm.com/win. Promo code Let's Go. Scan the QR code there on the screen to get your draft guide there today. If you want just the fantasy football draft guide, right there, FantasyAlarm.com/guide. You can scan that QR code as well to get your draft guide and cheat sheet to help you dominate your fantasy football drafts. We'll be back tomorrow, myself and James Grande, so be on the lookout for that at 5 p.m. Until then, everybody, good luck with your lineups tonight.